Now, days 11 and 12. Because this paper didn't work, I decided to buy a translucent paper specifically for watercolor. So I got this tiny little Jupo translucent. They are not really that translucent as you are gonna see now, but it's more translucent than normal watercolor paper. Because I didn't know how to use this paper, I made a lot of samples. This one is with black ink. I use a bleach and degreaser. I left one to dry a little bit more than the other half. So, and as you can see, it doesn't behave exactly like watercolor paper will do, but it still have some effect. Well, here I went back to the sketchbook to analyze the difference between the two paper, how they look like. Also, I took into consideration the different samples and the size I was gonna use. This is in the right side is all the tiny little samples that I did so to add it to the sketchbook to have a reference for later. But basically, I will use this for the final project to have a reference. Here is what I thought I wanted for the final project, the frames that I want to do, and how I wanted to hang them at the end. I wanted to have like a pole, and I think I'm gonna do some frames to enclose the pictures to look like more family portraits, and this is some of the samples that I did with the different sizes that I got. So I started to develop the project. Here you're gonna see the drawings. Each one of them are different. They are made in the small size that you saw. I try to implement new techniques, blending different brushes, do a lot of experimentation with this type of paper to create different type of illustrations. But more or less, I try to convey different feelings. This one, as you can see, was a little bit damaged. I am not sure I can clean it, but well, this is the problem with using a paper that you have never used before and you don't know how to preserve it. But well, overall, it doesn't show, and I'm gonna be using it anyway. And you can see the rest. Some are more opaque, some are more translucent, but it's not about finish. I'm kind of happy with it. Frames. I did them with a paper, as you can see. I painted. It's a very thin type of craft paper. I tried to do it with a thicker one, but I couldn't. It was very difficult to fold. So these frames are very fragile, as you might imagine. Here you can see the first one. They were too small for the size, so it didn't fit well, so I needed to do it again. Here we can see the two sizes. The bigger one is the one I use, and here you can see it was acrylic painted in black, and I was really worried that it was translucent, but you couldn't see because it have a background. So I opened up the back, as you can see, and I wanted to paste it, but you lose half of the drawing if you do it like that. With the big one, is a little bit better, but I needed to work more on this, so it took me a few days to get the size right. So here is one of the examples where it's painted with acrylic paint, and I decided to add this detail in gold. Is carbon paper with a gold leaf. Actually, I think it's gilded metal, and I brush it down so it looks like oil. Here is you will see how they look when they are finished. They're very fragile, they are very delicate, and I really worry how they are gonna look when they are hung on the wall. These are the first made. It was a lot of trial and error to see what I like, what I didn't like. And the most important thing is they are very fragile and delicate. So let's see how I'm gonna hang them up. Well, here are all the pieces already finished, and it's a quick overlook at how they look. I love them, but unfortunately, I feel they are very fragile and is very difficult for me to think in a way how I can actually hang things without damage them. I'm gonna try to photograph them on the wall, and I'm gonna tell you later how that looks like. But I think in order to preserve the translucent of this project, I need to find a better way that is not on a wall. But well, let's see how it goes.